Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having a great week to this point. It has been an immensely challenging week for me. Uh, it's par for the course because I push myself to be the best version of myself and to produce the best possible results. And so I don't give myself a whole lot of leeway to be comfortable and relaxed. It doesn't mean I'm stressed, it just means I'm striving to do and accomplish things. And I challenge other people to do the same. Nowhere, and please understand, I'm not talking about being in a place of misery. I'm talking about knowing what you're fighting for and being willing to fight for it and understand that life isn't going to lay down. You'll get to understanding where I'm going with this by what we're going to talk about today. But before I do, there's a little thing I want to address for my people on the Black Voice. Normally, these videos would not be in great uh, frequency and supply on the Black Voice. I would kind of trinkle them in there. Normally, wouldn't be a live stream. It would normally be a recording of a live stream, and I would just add it in because I thought, hey, this might be good. And for the last month or so, I've been sharing this with the Black Voice channel, and some people have inquired why. And it's because I think we can easily become addicted to trauma porn, suffer porn, pity porn, and talking about everything that's wrong. And we can literally inundate our subconscious with so much negativity that we begin to submerge ourselves into suffering. And it happens on a grand scale in the Black community because everything we see tends to be negative and tends to be a representation of what we fear, what we hate, what hurts us. And what I want to do is I want to empower the people on every platform where I have a voice to know that they have the capacity to change their lives. And I would love to see the demographic makeup of my client uh, ledger start to look more like my people because everybody needs to be their best self. And I think that when we all we talk about is what's wrong, you tend to end up immersed in that until it becomes your source of suffering, and then it becomes almost impossible to escape. So that's the reason why you're seeing so much motivational, inspirational, instructional content on the Black Voice channel. We still are going to tackle the the challenging issues. We're still going to go after the enigmatic issues that plague the community. We're still going to fight to make changes. We're still committed. There are a bunch of things I'm going to come talk to you about that are going to be stuff that's going on that we should definitely not be happy with. But at the same time, there has to be a key to where each individual has a pathway to their best self. And so that's why I'm sharing this on the Black Voice channel, along with a number of. Right now, I'm streaming on about six different, seven different platforms, and so I just added the Black Voice in there. So that's why you're getting so much content on the Black Voice that's not quote unquote about Black issues. This is about personal development. As a Black person, you still, if not more, need to be at your best. And so that's that. Now, let's move on. Today, we've been sort of on the theme of purpose. I'm real big on purpose because purpose puts you in a place where you can properly process and filter and understand and gain perspective on a lot of the things you go through in life. When you're not aware of your purpose, you tend to be taken off or taken by surprise or flabbergasted by the movements of life because it seems unfair. It seems um, that it doesn't make sense. But when you are aware of your purpose, you start to see the meaning behind things. You start to have a different perspective. Things don't seem so daunting because you know where you're going. You have a clear view of your destiny. You know why you're here. And when you know your why, there's absolutely nothing that can stop you. We talk about purpose, but the thing I want to talk about is this idea of what happens when you're in pursuit of your purpose. Well, the big thing that I came to understand is we don't always make the best choices and decisions. Um, we don't always make the best choices and decisions when we are, younger in life, or we going through things, or we run into wrong things. And so what happens is we start to stack a past that we're not happy with, we're battling with, we're trying to escape. Sometimes people do things to us that we hang on to. Sometimes we were victimized as children and we hang on to them. And there's all these things in our past that don't make great memories, don't make great recollective visitations. And so we're often battling with that and struggling with that. What I found out is that when I'm pursuing my purpose, I am simultaneously distancing myself from my past. You know why that's important? Because no matter how much you want to change it, you can never change the past. What you can do is you can overcome it. What you can do is you can rise up from it. What you can do is use it as motivation, but what you can't do is change it. And what I find a lot of people doing is battling with their past. I actually one day sit up and I made a statement and it sort of stuck. And I said, stop mortgaging your future to pay for your past. And the question is, how am I doing that? Well, you're spending so much time battling your past that you're not preparing for your future. You're spending so much time battling your past that you're not in a good place and to take advantage of opportunities to advance yourself in future. You don't have a clear bearing on your vision because you're still battling what's behind you. You can't pay attention to what's behind you and move safely and securely towards what's in front of you. You have to understand your past is behind you, the good and the bad. Learn from it, encourage yourself through it, but you can't keep living in it. I've seen people living in the past on both sides and are stuck right now because they can't get out of the past. Some people in the past and they're suffering because of everything that went wrong. Some people in the past because that was their best days. I know guys that are my age still talking about what they did in high school as an athlete because that was the height of what they did as an athlete, and they never found a way to secure something different that was greater within them outside of the idea of being an athlete. And then that's where they're at, and they can't move forward. All they're doing is, when you see them, that we finna go back 30 years and talk about what happened when we were playing and all that great. But let's talk about what we're doing now. Now, it's nothing wrong when you visit the past and you say, man, I remember when I went through that. But you know what? I came through. I remember when this happened, but I'm still standing. Then you gain a sense of, you know what? Life took some shots at me, but I'm still standing. And so what purpose does is when you're pursuing your purpose, I've learned that you no longer have to battle your past. Why? Because in the very act of pursuing your purpose, you simultaneously distance yourself from your past. It's not that you need to forget it all, it's that you need to stop living in it. Here's something else that you need to understand. We're talking about success. We're talking about vision. We're talking about becoming great. And we're talking about today some of the impediments. Number one, you got to stop living in the past. The impediments to success, the impediments to greatness, the impediments to achieving one's destiny. Stop living in the past is one. The other is you got to be prepared for sacrifice. And the bigger the vision, the bigger the dream, the bigger the sacrifice, the greater the sacrifice. You are going to have to be willing to put some skin in the game. You're going to have to be willing to let some things go. You're going to have to be willing to go over and aboard in some areas where it's not going to be comfortable. This is not about comfort. How many times have you heard me say that? And it's going to always be a theme because we live in a world that seeks comfort. We live in a world that seeks the least route of resistance to anything. And that's not where greatness is built. That's where average happens. I believe it was Will Smith that says the quickest path to mediocrity is being realistic. And one of the quickest paths to being average and mediocre is sitting up attempting to achieve anything through the conduit of comfort. That's not where it happens. Adversity is the fertile soil in which the seed of faith is planted and cultivated. You're going to have to be willing to take on some things. You're going to have to be willing to move through some things. This is not about comfort. This is about reward. And that's where we get confused. We want comfort. So we get in there. We find a little place where it's not that much resistance. It's not a whole lot going on. I'm going to get up every day. I'm going to go to work, do what these people tell me to do. I'm going to pick up my check the 1st and the 15th every week, once a month, or however I get paid. I'm going to pay my bills. I'm going to make sure I have a little left over to go here and do that. And it's going to be all good. And But and you realize you're waking up every day and you're going to a job you hate, but you're doing what everybody else does. This is what you do. You go to work and you pay your bills. That's not life. That's existing. That's surviving. That is what we call spiritual suicide, because there's something on the inside of you that's literally demanding that you be great. But being average is so comfortable. Being mediocre is so comfortable. I just sit here, I just stroll through. And let me explain something to you. When I say be average and be mediocre, I'm not talking about how many zeros in your bank account. Because if you can be the best version of yourself and do the things you do, and you're satisfied with being some zeros short of a million, some zeros short of you know six figures or whatever. The thing is, the going thing for success isn't about the money in your bank. The money in your bank is a residual impact of your success, of your impact in this world. No, what I'm talking about is there's something inside of you that you literally or were designed to do. There's something inside of you that says you need to be an impact. Being an impact is more than just how much money you have in your bank. It's more than what you drive. It's more than where you live. It's about the lives you change through your presence, the lives you change through interaction, the imprint that you're placing on this world. How are you changing the world around you? And when you find yourself changing the world around you, you'll find your situations changing. You'll find your bank account improving. You'll find your your geographical location improving. You'll find a bunch of things changing in your life when you start helping people change theirs. That's the reality of it. Still doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Still doesn't mean there won't be hiccups. It just means that things will change. That's what you're seeking. You're not seeking ease. You're not seeking comfort. You're seeking the capacity to have the most massive impact that you can have on the world around you. You want to create a legacy that is a representation of your existence. You're not here to survive. You're not here to only exist. You are here to live and thrive. And the problem is, so many people have become content with simply existing and okay with just surviving. I'm making it. I'm making it. Man, ooh, I'm making it. I'm hanging in. That's not supposed to be your life story. That shouldn't be your life story. That shouldn't be your representation of your relationship with God. God didn't design you to be mediocre. God didn't design anything for mediocrity. The default of not activating your potential is mediocrity. The default of not pursuing your destiny is mediocrity. In default means I didn't really invest. I really didn't put in the work. I really didn't make the sacrifices. I didn't put any skin in the game. I just showed up and did what everybody else was doing. And I ended up in this box. And in this box are a bunch of other people like me that consistently have the same conversation and talk about the same things, complain about the same things, but never do anything to change them. As long as you're in that box, that's all you're going to get is a bunch of talk by people who aren't happy with their lives, but will absolutely not do one thing to change their situation. It's your responsibility. When you sit up there, God has placed inside of you this unlimited ability to change what you don't like. If you don't like it, you can change it, but it's going to require some things. See, the thing is, most people don't want to put in what is required. Most people don't want to make the sacrifices. You can have the body you want, but it comes with the sacrifices. You can have the bank account you want, but it's going to come with consistency and sacrifice. You can't keep spending and thinking the way you've been spending and thinking. It's not going to happen no matter how hard you work. You're never going to get there because it's your thinking. It's not the money, it's you. Okay, and then let's move on. I got a series of questions I'm going to ask you, and I want you to contemplate on these questions. I want you to log them in your subconscious, in your mind, in your memory. If you can, jot them down. If you have to go back and watch this video a couple of times to jot them down, do so. But I want you to really contemplate these questions. The first question is, how hungry are you? A lot of people simply aren't hungry enough. They out there, and here's the crazy thing about comfort. Comfort breeds complacency. You're not hungry enough because you're not suffering enough. You're not hungry enough because you're not struggling enough. You're not hungry enough because your situation isn't painful enough. So you're just sitting there chilling. You're not fulfilled, but you haven't reached a point where you can say enough. That's a dangerous place to be. For those of you who are Christian and read the Bible, that's what Christ was talking to the church in Laodicea about by being lukewarm. So I'd rather you be hot or cold. Why? If you're hot, you're where you need to be. You're flaming, you're fire, your own passion. Don't have to tell you much. You're just going to wake up every day and go out there and do it because you're living in your purpose. If you're cold, you know you're cold. It's uncomfortable. You're not happy. You know some work needs to be done. But if you're lukewarm, you just where it's not too cold. You know you're not really hot, but you're good. You're better than them cold folks. So you got somebody to look down on and say, at least I'm not there, but you're not really where you need to be. Now, the danger in life is this. Pay attention to me, please. The danger in life is living your life and not having fulfilled your destiny. That's the danger in life. Everything else is just academic in truth. At the end of the day, did you fulfill your destiny? Did you live up to your potential? Did you leave potential, and did your potential go to the grave because you refused to access it and actualize it? That's going to be the ultimate question. The next thing is, what drives this hunger? What's behind your hunger? Is it greed? Is it wanting to be like the Joneses? Is it trying to be fit in? Is it trying to be accepted? If that's what's driving your hunger, that's why you keep getting off, because it's study dependent upon what somebody else thinks and how somebody else is doing. Your purpose has nothing to do with what somebody else is doing or not doing. Your purpose has everything to do with you being committed and attached to some sense of value in where you're supposed to be going and not willing to stop it. You've got to be driven by the right thing. You got to know your why. Now, here's some serious questions you need to contemplate. What is it I want to achieve? You need to have a clear vision of that. You need to understand that. That shouldn't be a question about what you want out of life specifically. You need to know that. Number two, what am I trying to avoid? Normally, you'll find out the things you're trying to achieve will be in direct opposition of what you're trying to avoid. But what are those things? I don't want to be broke. I don't want to go through a divorce. I don't want to work for the same company that hasn't respected me or given me any true value for the rest of my life. I want to do something different. Maybe I want a new job at a new place. Maybe I want to start my own company. Whatever it is, I know I don't want to be here. What are you trying to avoid? The next question you need to ask yourself, what's the next step? What am I going to do about it? Oh, that's a step most people never get to. I don't want this. I want that. I don't want this. But literally talking about what you have to do to make sure that those first two are dealt with and addressed is huge. Finally, this question: what does your vision look like? At Visionetics, at the Visionetics Institute, my concept of Visionetics is real simple. It's giving your destiny a vision. It's giving it imagery. It's being able to look into the future and literally see it in a way that you're almost there walking in it, and being able to look at it and say, man, I want you to experience your vision in such imagery that it creates an emotion. I want that emotion to create a memory and an imprint in your brain. So now that when you're moving towards something, you have something you can connect to. That is the ability to move forward. You have to be willing to take action. You have to be willing to move forward. Success is intentional. Success is intentional. Now, there are two things that I have discovered that play the primary role in stopping people from achieving their best self. Two things. Now, they can be broken down to a bunch of different things. You can talk about procrastination. You can talk about self-sabotage. You can talk about a bunch of things. But it boils down to two primary elements, and you've got to conquer them. The first thing is limited beliefs. One of the most difficult things to achieve is belief. To believe that thing you want, you can have it. It's easy to believe other people can get it. You realize you never really question how that person did it. You never really question where that person came from, what that person had to go through. That person did it. Oh my God. That's great. But when it says, okay, you can do it too, well, you start to think about all the things that's going on in your life, where you come from, where it happened. I came from this and I went from that. And then you got all these people in the box with you, and they also have the same limiting beliefs. So you're reinforcing each other's limiting beliefs that keep saying you can't do it. And since you say you can't do it, you can't. And so you're there with that limiting belief stuck. And the only way that you're going to change it is to change the belief. So how do you change the belief? You keep introducing the new idea. Repetition. You got to keep introducing the new idea. You got to keep on saying, for those who are Christian believers, faith cometh by what? Faith cometh by hearing. Why? Because if I keep hearing it long enough, the subconscious just simply all of a sudden says, if it's coming in that much, it's got to be true. It doesn't need your conscious to approve it. If you inundate your subconscious with an idea, the subconscious will give priority to the idea and begin to develop a belief around that idea. That's why you've got to be careful to watch what you're listening to. That's why you've got to be careful to watch what you're saying about yourself. That's what you've got to be careful to the music, the news, everything you're watching, because if you're not careful, you'll have something reinforcing a negative idea in your subconscious that's literally stopping you from becoming what you need to be. So you've got to work on the beliefs. That's something I do with my clients from the beginning. The next thing, failure to take action. Failure to take action. And I'll tell you what, most people think I got to believe before I take action. No, you don't. What you need to do is, there's a thing called behavioral therapy. You got cognitive, now they've merged cognitive therapy and behavioral therapy. You got cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a mental awareness, but it's also an action. In other words, if you do something repetitively enough, you don't have to believe it. Eventually, it just take hold and you'll be doing it. And if you're doing something repetitively that produces results, eventually the results will create the new reality and the new belief. So you have to have two things. You have to have two things that are operating: a belief and action and movement. Now, one of the things I find most is even people who say they believe tend not to take action. So what I did is, and what I want to invite everyone to is, on the 11th of next week, the 11th of this month, which is not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, we're doing another live event. We had so much fun with the previous live event. We're doing another event. This time, the event is to make a move live event. This is going to be talking about, you're going to receive a questionnaire. You fill out this questionnaire, get a clear idea of where it is, what you're trying to go, what you're doing. And we're going to get a clear understanding. Then we're going to talk about what it takes to make a move. We're going to leave there with a specific step we take, and you move into that idea. Some of you guys may end up wanting to sit up and say, hey, doc, I want to work with you, but that's not what this is about. This is about just getting you to take a move. Because what you're going to find out is, once you make a move, once you take a first step, providence begins to act on your behalf. The universe begins to conspire for you. God designed it that way. God literally designed the universe to conspire towards your movement. But your movement is based on what? 9 times out of 10, faith. That's why I said faith without works is what? Dead. So how does the universe respond? It responds to your movement. Not you saying I believe, but you moving as if you believe. Sometimes you can move, you cannot believe and move as if you believe, and the universe still responds. That's the beauty of this thing. So you need to learn how to take action. That's what this event is about. And again, I wanted everybody who wanted to seriously take part in it. Now, again, this isn't for novices. This is for people that's just dropping in to see what happened. So the way we do this is, you come in and understand. Hey, Deandra, movement is extremely important, but also specificity in movement. What am I moving to? That's why you need to know what you want and what you don't want, because you need to know where you need to be moving. How you need to be moving, because everything requires something. The importance of it all is making sure you take the move. Now, again, anybody who knows me knows that one of my selling points is not I'm cheap. That's not my selling point. My selling point is I win. I get the job done. That's my selling point. And the clients that come to me because I get results. This is something I want to do. Like I said, just one session with me is normally $350. You can go on the site, Rick Wallace, phd.link, and you can check out the prices, what it takes to work with me. Don't panic. That's for the people who are ready and prepared and ready to go. This is about simply getting something done. We're going to spend an hour and a half nailing this thing down. And the cost is, I don't want any blind sides. I'm not trying to sneak up on you and surprise you. It's $107.97. So $108. You're going to sit down with me for an hour and a half, and we're going to go one-on-one with the people in there. We're asking questions. We're talking. This isn't just me doing a monologue. I'm going to come in. I'm going to introduce what's going on. I'm going to tell you why it's important. I'm going to have the questions that you guys have answered in front of me, and we're going to deal with the challenges of why we don't take action and how we need to know where we're going and what action we need to take. Sometimes people say, but what if I make the wrong move? You will. You're not going to make the right move every time. That's the one thing that you have to get out of your head, is that I've got to make the, you know how many people are procrastinating because they keep weighing all the options? And do you realize the more options you have, the less chance you have of making the right? The thing is to get moving. Here's the thing. When you get to moving, you're going to eventually develop a capacity and an understanding that I can make adjustments on the move. But you know where it's hard to make adjustments for? Standing still. It's not about making the right move. It's about making the best possible move with what you know and what you feel. Then you make adjustments. There are times I get started and go, whoa, shouldn't have done that. Man, I'm having some days like that now, because we're pushing and expanding so much that we're running into challenges and say, okay, well, let's try it this way. And it's trial and error a lot of times. But what I can tell you is if I never got started, I wouldn't be at a point right now where we're taking Rick Wallace Enterprises, which includes the Visionetics Institute, into 2022 with the greatest potential for expansion ever. And we've done some extraordinary things over the course of my business career over the last 30 years. I'm very excited about what's out in front, but it's going to take work. It's going to take some bumps and bruises. It's going to take getting knocked down. It's going to take getting back up. But the thing is, I have the confidence of knowing if I'm still breathing, I'm still in the fight, and I'm figuring this thing out. I'm going to work it out. I'm going to use what I know in area of expertise, but I'm also going to use what I learn in my failures, and I'm going to learn what I need to do to be the best I can in getting this done, and I'm going to win. It's an automatic understanding that if I start something and I'm still living, I'm going to win. I don't care how long it takes me. I have goals set and there are deadlines and times, but when I hit it, I don't quit. That's another thing that people do. They tend to quit. They tend to get there and go, oh man, I better try something else, because you know why? Everybody's watching them and everybody's saying, man, you've been trying that for a year. Man, you've been trying that for 3 years. Man, you've been trying that for 5 years. Man, with the reward that's waiting on the end of this, I tried another 5, because what I understand is that the more I invest in it and the longer it takes for the harvest to manifest, the greater the reward. I'm not sitting up in year 5 getting the same thing I would have gotten if I would have finished in year 1. What I get in year 5 will be multiplied 5-fold based on the energy, effort, and input in the seeds I planted into it. It's taking me longer to get there, but the reward will be greater. You never quit on your destiny. You never quit on your purpose. But I'm going to tell you something. You got to get started, and even the art of make a decision to quit or not. So that's what this is an event about. The link is in the description box. Again, for someone to sit down with me for 45 minutes, that's the average session, $350. My bronze package, which is consulting, coaching, therapy, is 12 sessions. That's 12 weeks. That's $2,540. My 52-week package, that's some others in between, but my platinum package is a 52-week package. That's 52 sessions over the course of a year. That's $10,500. Here's the thing. The vast majority of my clients are on that platinum package because they saw the value in it. And not everybody can do that. And this isn't about making anybody feel bad, but what I'm trying to tell you is people believe in what I do. And so what I want to do is I want to take what I can do and come to you where you're at. And I believe if you're really truly serious about making moves, if you're really truly serious about making a difference and changing some things, you should be willing to invest that much into you, because most of you are going to spend a lot more on Christmas for those kids and grandkids and loved ones and all that. I'm not crapping on you for none of that. But what I'm saying is you've got to know what's most important, because see, Christmas is come and go, but your ability to make an impact in this world is sitting right in front of you right now. And what are you going to do with it? Are you going to make a change? Are you going to sit there, keep existing, keep surviving, and just hoping? Time is out for that. You are going to have to make a move. You're going to have to be committed to something. You're going to have to take action. Faith without works is absolutely useless. It's just words. It doesn't become action. It doesn't become a force until you move on it. Now is the time to do that. Now is the time to take the chance. Sign up. There's only room for 50 people on the platform I'm going to use, plus interacting with people where I'm actually answering questions becomes quite encumbersome after that. So the first 50 who sign up are going to be the first 50 who get in, and we're going to go for it. And people who have set up and dealt with me know we normally go over. I'm here to win. I'm coming to win with you. So in essence, that's what I want you to focus on. So for those of you who are serious about doing it, let's make it happen. On that note, I'm out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full, and I challenge you to do the same. Because when you live your life on full, you die on E. You leave nothing untapped, untouched, unrealized. That should be your goal. On that note, I'm out of here. I look forward to working with you. Go to the link, sign up for the Make a Move live event, and let's make some things happen on December 11th. On that note, I'm out.